Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Tim. I'm going to talk to you about a book that I finished reading. Part of my challenge this year of reading a different Jack Londondl book every month is February. The book I started in February, I finished it kind of early March, was called his second published book called A Daughter of the Snows. So this was something much more than I was expecting. So you start reading it, and it's what you think of when you think of Jack London, Call of the Wild, White Fang. It's about the Yukon. It's about that frozen, harsh wilderness that was being colonised and monetized by people looking for gold in the gold rush and in the Klondike gold rush. And that's just a part of time I find quite interesting, because you start off with no humanity, and then suddenly there's people everywhere, and you do see a bit of that world, which I really enjoy, such as sugar being more valuable than dollars, and how actually the main character's father goes and becomes very, very rich and has a huge business empire because he was there first, and there's a bit of mining rights and things like that. I found that interesting. That's basically where the things that I expected stop. So the main character is called Frona Wells, and she is a woman explorer, which is very, seeing as this was written in 1902, I think, is something quite progressive. She isn't about getting a man. She isn't about trading on her father's legacy, on her name, though she does know about it. She's not so against it. Again, it's about her travels through the Yukon as she's trying to find her way. She meets, so I'm like, okay, this is about a woman making her way in the Yukon, and then it becomes like a soap opera. There's romance, there's love triangles, there's jilted lovers, there's a crazy wedding out of the blue. It's interesting to see how Frona, I read it as Frozen, I think, has to choose between two people who are very different. One of them is like a manly man, or she meets loads of different characters. One of them is a manly man, but he's tall, he's broad, he's got a beard, but he's learned and he's a bit of a gentle giant, while the other one is much more of a daring explorer and is a bit of a cad with the ladies, but he's a bit more smaller in build, and you see Frona kind of talking about what she prefers in a man, which is quite interesting. And you're like, okay, this is going in a way that I was not expecting at all. It's fun, it's interesting, I'm enjoying being with these characters. And then it turns into a murder mystery at the end. Well, someone is accused, and they're all trying to find out who did it and what really happened and all this kind of stuff. And then the book ends. And the ending is very abrupt. You think that she is going to make a decision on, which bad, and she doesn't really, and then the book just ends. The book just finishes almost in the middle of a sentence. There is no finale, no denouement, no wrapping up of where characters are or what they're doing. Very strange, but I really enjoyed it. I love the environment that the book is set in. I love that it looked at dealing with the Native Americans in the region, that Frona had a history of in the region, but had gone off and did some studies in Europe and had come back, and people were reacting to her coming back. The world felt very lived in, because she's already met some of these people before, or they know about her, or they know her father, so it feels, very lived in, but you're still on the edge of civilization. They're I'll go out this way, maybe no one has ever been there before, which I think is really interesting. Things that I didn't like. So for me, first of all, I'm giving this 4, I say first of all, I'm 5 minutes in. I'm really good at this, but I give this 4 stars. It was almost 5, but One, the ending was just like super abrupt, and it took me a while to figure out, even if anything did happen at the end, it was just like finished. It was very strange. But so that kind of takes a bit of a knock. And now we're in the things were written over 100 years ago, so actually they're super racist time. And it didn't come from a source that I was expecting. There are Native Americans in this. They're not portrayed the best, I would say, but I would say they're certainly not portrayed badly. But I would say forgivable for the time. You know, I'm very forgiving of things that you can't say today, but this was written over 100 years ago, so you would be able to say things then. But then you have one of the love interests talks about how the Teutonic people, white Saxon people, are just inherently the best and are born to lead, and people of other skin colours they just have to bow down to white people because it's just naturally better. It's like white people's destiny to rule the world. And I was like, whoa, this is something. And I'm like, okay, this is beyond what was kind of talked about at the time, I think. I don't know, I wasn't there 120 years ago. Maybe this is a way to like show that this character is not a good person. And then the main character, Frona, joins in, and she shares the same beliefs. It's a bit rough. It's a bit rough. Yeah, I could kind of get past it because they basically just have like 1 or 2 conversations about it and then they move on. But if you stopped reading at that point, I would not blame you because it was rough. And something else as well that happens. It happens again right at the end of the book, is while Frona's making a choice between the 2 men she wants to be with. Well, certainly 2 men that want to be with her. She has a go at one of them for something that they did. And it's not the bad thing that they did, it's the fact that they were very unmanly about it. And just crazy energy for having a go at someone for doing for what they did or what they didn't do because it's not manly enough. Just toxic masculinity up the wazoo. But yeah, those kind of brought it down for me, but I really enjoyed them. I really enjoyed the book, and I'm going to keep going. I did buy To Build a Fire and Other Stories by Reader's Digest, collated by Reader's Digest. I bought that under a bridge in London, in central London, when I went up with the family. So I'll be reading that next in my month of Jack London, but I need to try and figure out when to fit it in because we're halfway through the month yet, and I've got loads of stuff to read. I think I'm giving myself too much to read again. Anyway, if you're enjoying these Jack London books, book reviews, just let me know, and I'll see you soon. And get out of my house!